Okay, if I write it down, you write it on your paper. No excuse not to.
Be quiet.
Okay, number 1. 4 girls and 2 extra people. We're trying to split up some work. So this first girl finished 1/3, second girl finished 1/5. Can we figure out how much those two finished altogether?
Yes, you can.
So what do we have to do with those two numbers? Add them. So we have 1/3 plus 1/5. To add two fractions, we need what? Common denominator. What do 3 and 5 have in common? 15. 1/3 is the same as how many 15ths? Is 5, because 3 times 5 is 15. 1/5 is the same as 3 15ths. Okay? We add those together, we do get 8 15ths. So those two girls finish 8 15ths of the work, which means how much work is left for everyone else? 15 minus 8, which is? So these other people split up 7 15ths of work. How many people have not done anything?
4 people.
So we have 1, 2, plus these 2 extras. So that's a total of 4. How do we split something among 4 people? So we divide this by 4, or 4 over 1.
Wait, how'd you get 7 over 5?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's 7 15ths. Check your... Okay, instead of dividing fractions, no. Well, we could. So instead of dividing by 4 over 1, remember we can flip the second number, and instead of dividing, we can multiply.
Wait, why would you want to do that?
Because multiplying fractions is just as easy as multiplying straight across. So what's 7 times 1?
7.
What's 15 times 4?
No. 60.
60. Okay? The reason we don't divide, because then you have to do 7 divided by 4, which is a decimal. It's the same thing as saying, why is like 20 times 1/2 is the same as what?
1/2 divided by...
This is the same as 20 divided by... Belle? What are we doing? Person you want to be friends with. So 20 divided by 2 is the same as, it's just the way it works out. If you want to come by after school, we can explain the in-depth details as to why that works. But this is the answer. This is...
Oh my god, I don't know why, but I put 69 instead of 60. Like in my head, I said 69 and I just wrote it on my paper.
Or, we can flip it, but only if we change it from division to multiplication. Because if you actually divided 7 divided by 4, you'd get like 1 point something over 15, which is the same as that.
My question again, how'd you get 7 over 15? How'd you get
Number 2, rectangle closet measures 12 feet by 9 feet. Can we find the area of that?
Can you? Yes, you can.
108. 108.
So our area is 108. If it's $1.75 per square foot, how can we find the cost?
You divide you multiply 175 times 108. Wait, hold on.
So to find the cost of anything, you take the cost per unit times the number of units that you have.
Where's the 108? Oh, the area.
We multiplied. Okay, we put the 108 on the bottom because that's easier to multiply by 1 and 0 than it is to multiply by 7 and 5. So we work this out. We can skip that second number because it's just 0.
I got 18,900. Oh. I got 189.
Good, me too.
You were waiting.
I was waiting for Brooke to tell me I was wrong or that it didn't make sense.
When it doesn't make sense.
All right, so
But since you just like moved the decimal over, that makes it 189. Like
right, this is $189 even. So the only thing we need to figure out is what is the cost with tax.
that I don't get.
So,
I don't get how to do
all right. So if you don't get it, okay, shh. If you don't get it, the simplest way to put it together is, since it's a percent, is to make a proportion, and you just look at it as tax, and then something that equals 100%, which, since we're talking about money, we can say the total. Then we put our dollar amounts on one side, percents on the other. So we look, what dollar amounts do we know?
We got 189.
Is that the total or the tax? That's the total. The tax percent is
825. Wait. Why do you put these on that side?
because we put dollar amounts on one side, percents on the other. So 8.25 is 100% for the total. Okay? And that'll give us our amount in tax. Right. So this proportion will tell us how much money they're going to charge in tax.
How do you know when to cross multiply and when to multiply the side?
If it says equals, then you cross multiply. This one here, they're just being multiplied together. That's when you go straight across. I know. That's why we went straight across.
Wait, why are you
So
going
that's the only reason you multiply the fraction is to go that way, and when you're doing a proportion.
Yes.
No. You multiply 825.
So we take 189 times 8.25, and we get 1,559.25.
Wait, why did you tell me I wasn't ready?
Because we have stuff to do. We only have 14 minutes. We've only done 1.5 problems.
Wait, so it's what? 155
And then we divide that by,
by 100.
and so we get the taxes $15.59.
That's a lot of tax. Not really. Yeah, not really. 180
So what was this question asking for? What the cost was with tax?
So now, how can we find the cost with tax? We just add 15.
That carpet's expensive. I know, right?
Only the best in closets.
That's a pretty big closet.
I got 204.
You did too.
Yes. So this is
So $24.59.
you make a water and pour it in the closet.
What? You want to put water in the closet?
I'm not sure, but I think the cost of that would not be that much different.
How much is coffee in Home Depot?
Plus, that might actually damage your foundation by adding a whole bunch of weight.
Isn't there already cement? Why would you add more cement?
That's,
Next question.
Mr. Mancha. Who's that?
Mancha?
Mr. Mancha.
Mancha.
number 3.
Mr. Mancha.
Gives them 2 shapes, says one of them has a volume of 960 feet. Which of these has a volume of 960 feet? So rectangular prism, remember, it's basically just multiply all 3 numbers together. What's 5 times 2 times 6?
Oh, X to the no.
60.
60.
So
I was on the wrong side.
that's probably not it. How about the volume of a pyramid? It's the same thing, except we take a third of it.
I was like, where y'all getting money?
So since we have a square pyramid, the area of the base is going to be 24 times 24.
I got 1,560. I thought, aren't you supposed to multiply?
24 times 24 is 576. What is the actual height? Is 5. Do we use the slant height when we're talking about volume? Slant height we only use for surface area. So let's see. We can take a third of 576.
Divided by 3.
Or you could multiply this and then divide the whole thing by 3. 24 times 24.
Why would you do that?
Because it's the area of the base. The base is a square that's 24 by 24. So 576 divided by 3 to answer the question, no, it doesn't matter which order you do it in, but I'd rather divide small numbers and then multiply small numbers rather than multiply medium numbers and then divide big numbers.
Wait, hold on.
Keep it simple. 3 goes into 27.
192.
Thank you. So we have 192 times 5. So that's 1,000 minus 40. So that's 960. What? You don't divide by 1/3. Instead of multiplying by 1/3, remember we talked about this, how we could flip it? So instead of multiplying by 1/3, we divide it by 3.
Can you do
We
that?
divide it by 2.
Can you do that with any fraction?
Yes. Usually this way only works though if it's 1 out of something. Okay?
Like 1 out of 5.
Yes.
And that's the answer.
So there's our answer.
We don't have to ask, we just told you.
Wait, so what's the answer?
Does it matter? You weren't paying attention the whole thing and then you asked at the very end. And yet you couldn't figure out where the answer was. Number 4. Find the area 2 base of a cylinder. So if all we care about is the area of the base, what's the only thing we need to know about the cylinder?
Area of circle. How big is the
That's
base?
it. The only thing we need the cylinder for is to know what shape the base is, which since the cylinder has to be a circle. Okay? Past that, we don't care it's a cylinder. All we want is the area of that base. So it has a radius of 1 foot.
Diameter of 2.
Doesn't even matter what the diameter is. How can we find the area of that?
Multiply by 3.
Not quite.
Oh, no, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Yay!
Okay. We can use 3.14 for this.
Wait, no.
Because the radius is just 1.
So
What?
it's really just 3.14 times 1.
So what's 1 squared?
1.
The answer is 3.14.
Watch out, Charles.
One. But if it's a cylinder and it has 2 bases, you need to take this and multiply it by.
1.4.
So it's 68.
You'd have to times that by 2.
I don't understand why you have the 3.4. Why can't you just add it by 2?
Yes, that's how multiplying is. So it's 6.28 feet square.
You don't even need that.
Need that if it was actually asking us to find the volume, because what the altitude is, it's the height of the cylinder. So if we drew out the whole thing, it'd be like that. But since all we care about is the area, it's just extra information. Number 5. Lightning strikes more than 60 times per second. How many times does it strike in 3 minutes and 15 seconds? So, if our rate is in seconds, what should our time be written as? Seconds. So, how many seconds are in 3 minutes and 15 seconds?
195.
Well, 3 minutes is 180
Oh, my bad.
plus
95, yeah.
15 is.
I was right. It's in my head.
So, what do we do with 195? Do we divide it or multiply it? Multiply it.
It's 11,700.
And whatever you get is your answer.
11,700.
Oh, wait.
Okay. Number 6. Bert collected data on his favorite color and arm length of kids. So if we want to make a scatter plot out of this,
I never understood what that was. What is it?
scatter plots, those are the graphs that look like, or, so we have to look at how the two things we're comparing relate to each other. So the two things we're comparing here are what?
Race and arm length.
Not quite.
My favorite color and arm length.
Oh, I thought it was just color. My bad.
Okay.
My bad.
So we look, are those two things related?
Yes. No, it's not. One's a body.
Okay. Since one thing has nothing to do with the other, there is no correlation. We'd end up with a graph that looks like there's no correlation. They're not going anywhere. If they want to talk to me. So correlation just means the relationship. So if it went like this, we would say this has a positive because it's going up. This one would be negative. And if they're not related, we say it has.
So how would there be correlation like
If we said, if it was like height to arm length, as one goes up, so does the other.
Yeah.
So it'd be positive.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be tall and have
Okay?
arms.
The black one.
If you want to draw the graph, it looks like that. Okay? 7. Box of 20 cookies. Got that. What's the probability you'll get one with nothing in it? Okay? So this word nor means neither. Okay? So how many don't have either? 11. Because we have 4 here, 5 there, which means we have 11 that have neither. So it'd be 11 out of what? 20. So that's the answer as a fraction. Then we just want that as a decimal. So we could either divide this top in, bottom out, or we can think, what is that out of 100?
10, 11. What are we talking about?
This is times 5.
55.
So 55 hundredths, how do you write that as a fraction? Or a decimal? It's 0.55. Is that what we got over here? Yes, you can also think of it. No, not really. If you know your 20ths, you say, how much is 11 nickels worth? It's worth 55 cents.
That's a lot of
Who knows that?
I don't know.
Michelle seems to know.
So the answer is 0.55, right?
If you ever work at a cash register and you get like rolls of nickels, you learn that.
Office Max.
I thought he worked at
Office Depot, that's where you
I worked all over.
You did?
No. All right. 48% of adults surveyed said they'd make an effort, whatever. What fraction do not? So if 48% of people do something, what percent do not? How could you figure that out? What's the total?
it's 52, 100. It's 52.
So if you take 100% of people and you remove the people that do something, you're left with the people that do not. I heard you, Joey, and it was right. I wasn't saying it was wrong, but we were trying to explain it, and you're just like shouting over the top of me. Because not everyone gets it like you do, so we have to. Okay, hey. Not everything is easy to everyone.
Yeah, Joey.
If you wanted, I could just write the answers up here. Because I could work this out in my head, but then you'd be like, wait, go back, I don't understand.
Yeah, Joey.
That's the same thing. And I'd be like, but you're ignoring my answers. So, 52%, it wants that as a fraction though. So how can we write 52 out of 100? Is that the best possible answer? We simplify that.
Divided by 2.
We can divide it by 2 and get 26 out of 50. Can we simplify that?
Yes.
Yes.
Totally. Wait. Yeah, 13 out of 25.
13 out of 25. Can you simplify that? No, because 13 is prime.
Yeah, we've got like 7 minutes.
They let us back into the building.
They won't.
They don't.
I know, they would have told us.
We've never had a 10-minute fire drill, so
Yeah, it's true.
that's not what this is.
Before we came here.
All right. Vertices of an ABC triangle here.
I know what the area is. Neither was that.
All right. What we need to look at, what quadrant would all of these points be in?
They would be in the first one.
Okay. So we have 3, 6, 6, 2, 3, 2.
Whoa, how'd you do that? It's all estimating.
It doesn't really matter where you put them as long as you know they're right here.
Yeah, negative.
Okay? Once we have that, we're reflecting all these points how? Over the y-axis. Which means where are all the points going to end up? They're going to end up over here. So A would end up, what part of A is negative? The x or the y? X. So instead of being 3, 6, it would become, it'd be negative 3. Since it only moves to the left, our y-coordinate does not change. Right, then we do the same thing for B. So where would B end up at? And C would end up negative 3, 2. Right, number 10. What is the effect on volume if the radius and height are doubled? So if we double both the radius and the height, what can we say? We have a scale factor of 2. Okay? So then we want to know what happens to the volume. Do we have a formula for that? Say yes. So we have the new equals what? Why is it cubed? Because it's volume. Okay? I can see that. So 2 to the third power is what? And don't say 6. Which means the new volume is going to be the original volume times 8. So it's the original times 8, which means that how does our volume change? It goes up times 8. Okay, thank you.